Greetings to you all. Good morning and good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are or your GMT or your location. There's something that our people don't know. Ndị be anyị na-atụ n'isi arụrụ ala gba afọ bụrụ omenala. Do you also know that the capture of Lebanon used to be a Christian country. The capture of Lebanon started the same way the Fulani started in Nigeria. The capture of Lebanon is the story we are about to watch, to tell you the reason why the Zojuria have not been captured, even knowing fully well that the agenda that they have period to 2023 general election is a jihadist agenda, is Islamization agenda and the Fulanization agenda, using a Southwesterner to carry out that task. And the person that is carrying out this task, knowing fully well that he's already expired, not even a quarter to expire, he have already expired. His life on earth, he don't have any life on earth. Somebody, a 7-year-old man, is the one that is leading a young youth, telling them there's no free beer parlor anymore. In other words, whatever you are doing on this earth, whatever you are doing in this Zojuria or contraction of a country, you must pay. The air you breathe, Tinubu will charge you, you must pay. It not surprise me that it surprises me that even in Edo, after all these years of suffering from APC, that people still queue and vote for APC. Despite the fact I know they rigged the election, but people voted for them. If they don't have any single vote in all the whole polling unit, they will not have any reason to rig the election. So anybody will come out and tell me, the election was not free and fair. People queued online and voted for them. That is why they begin to increase the numbers. When they get 10 votes, they will increase it to 100 votes. If they don't get any single vote, they tell me how are they going to get numbers that they will use to rig election. So the agenda they have, even as I'm talking to you now, is Islamization agenda and the Fulanization agenda to conquer the contraption of a country called Nigeria. That geographical misconception of the geographical error called Nigeria. The only thing that is stopping them, and the main reason why they are putting everything in all their enemies, all their agents in every section to make sure that they conquer the country. Look at Isa Pantami, who is a terrorist, a jihadist, a Fulani man now, is a co-chairman to African Union, knowing fully well that African Union, the Biafra Republic government in exile, have already written a notice to the African Union period to the 2nd of December 2024 for the Biafra declaration. First, they have forced a lady there as a secretary who trashed the petition, or rather, the earlier notice that the Biafra government in exile have given to the African Union about the declaration of the independence of Biafra. Now, as I'm talking to you now, they just appointed Isa Pantami, a Fulani man who supported the killings under Buhari's government. Nobody didn't do him anything. He came out and openly and said that if they kill any Christian, does he matter? That is a co-chairman in the in African Union, because they know what is going to happen. That they know that African Union can never stand the pressure that the Biafrans are going to give to them. Anyway, let us just watch this news and listen to what this woman said, how the Islamists conquered Lebanon and turned Lebanon to be an Islamic country. But a Lebanon, like we all know, is a Christian country before. Until they welcome the refugees, who is Islamist, jihadist, terrorists, and they conquer and take over Lebanon. Make gonna listen to what Simon Ekpa talk. Then, before we can be able to tell you, you hear it from the horse's mouth. But please like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe. Let this video go viral. He said this is a story of what Simon Ekpa and Biafra government are resisting today. Every Biafra that is here to support the Biafra government It's a disappointment. Make una hear it and hear it clear. Any Biafra, as long as you are a core Biafra, born Biafra, grew up Biafra, and you are still thinking whether to support Biafra or not, you are a very big disappointment to your life, to yourself, to your family, and to your entire generation, both born and unborn. He said, this is how Lebanon went from being a prosperous Christian country to being ruled by Islamists. Pay close attention to this voice you're about to hear. As Christians, we open our doors to Muslims and welcome them into our country. We wanted to be inclusive and even made them part of the government. But due to having several wives and many children, Muslims became the majority. Once they were the majority, they thought they could do whatever they wanted and began massacring the Christians who welcomed them in their country. Exactly what happened. Before you see a core Hausa now where no mix with Fulani, it is very rare because they have already finished all the whole intellectuals in the northeast, northwest, and north central and occupy. And they are now the decision makers, even in the polity of the so-called Zojiria. I beg me to listen to this woman. She made a very vital point, and that is exactly what the Biafrans are fighting for in this contraption of a country called Nigeria.
I come from a country, Lebanon used to be the only majority Christian country in the Middle East. Most people don't know that. When they think of the Middle East, they think it's all Islamic countries. But Lebanon is the only majority Christian country in the Middle East. We were open-minded, we were fair. We prided ourselves on our multiculturalism. We welcomed everyone to our country, especially from the surrounding Arabic countries, because we wanted to share with them the westernization which we had created in the heart of the Middle East. Muslims used to send their children to come study in our universities because we had built the best universities in the Middle East. They graduated and worked in our economy because we had built the best economy in the Middle East, even though we did not have any oil. Lebanon was known as Paris of the Middle East, the banking capital of the Middle East. And as Christians, we focused on education. Education was very important to us. We educated girls and boys, no difference. We were living the good time. Unfortunately, all that began to change by the 70s because of two things. The enlargement of the Islamic population in Lebanon, because we Christians marry one spouse until death do us part. We don't have many kids. Muslims, on the other hand, are allowed to marry up to 4 wives at a time. Now, of course, not all of them do it, but enough of them do it that in our country, in Lebanon, by the 70s, the Muslims became the majority. And once they became the majority, they started massacring the Christians and killing the Christians. I remember in 1974, we stopped traveling. We used to go spend Christmas and Easter in Beirut with the rest of my family. And we stopped traveling, and I would ask my father, why aren't we going to Beirut for Christmas this year? And my daddy would say to me, well, we just decided to stay home this year. And, I couldn't understand why. And later I learned is because Muslims started setting up fly-by-night checkpoints, and they would stop Christian cars traveling. And when they would get people out of the car and look at their ID and find out that this is a Christian family traveling, because in Lebanon, our religion is written on our national ID, on your driver's license, on your passport. So when they see that this is a Christian family traveling, they would get everyone out of the car and shoot them in cold blood. So we became prisoners to our homes and our cities and our communities. And that's the reason why we stopped going anywhere. By 1975, that's when the war broke out, the civil war. And the war broke out because Muslims walked into a church on a Sunday morning and began shooting at Christian worshippers, and injured hundreds and killed 4 people. And that's what started out the all-out war. And it was a very difficult time for the Christians because as the Muslims organized and now supported by the oil money flowing out of Saudi Arabia and all the Muslim countries, they wanted to basically use Lebanon as a base from which to fight Israel, kill the Jews and drive them into the sea, using Lebanese democracy and Lebanese open-mindedness and tolerance to do exactly that. And that's really when my world turned upside down and it changed. Lebanon was so multi-faith and multicultural. So we had Jews, Muslims, Christians, Protestant. The majority were Christians. We were over almost 70% Christians when we got our independence in the 40s. But because of the way Muslims multiply, with the multiple wives and multiple kids, in 30 years, they became the majority. And when we got our independence from France and Lebanon, because we are, Judeo-Christians, come from Judeo-Christian culture, we're very fair. So we made sure we divided the government to make sure that Muslims have representation. So the president of the country was Christian, the prime minister was a Muslim, the prime minister, the secretary of state. We had different assignments for different religions. But the Muslims became the majority. And once they became the majority, they were no longer tolerant of the people who took them in and accepted them and included them in the country. They felt they were not a part of the country. They felt they were a part of the Islamic Ummah or the Islamic nation. So when they turned against their brethren Christians who lived in the same country, and Jews, but specifically the Christians, they began massacring us in large numbers because they thought we are in power now and therefore we set the rules on how things should be.
This is exactly the story of Zojuria. This is exactly the story of the Northerners. This is how they accepted refugees from the neighboring countries, who in turn began to mobilize, born like chickens, because exactly what this woman said is what happened in this Zojuria of a country. Yes, when you are busy practicing your Christianity of one man, one wife, their Muslim are busy teaching them, even if you are in difficulties, you have to marry more than one wife, and they keep on burning like children. So tomorrow now they will come out and tell us now that their population in Kano, Kaduna surpasses all the whole population in the southeast. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that, because common a shoe shiner can have more than 5-6 wives and burning kids and dumping them at elementary schools. I beg, let us take the reactions to know exactly what our people think concerning this matter. Master Simon Kano said we must resist them at all costs. Oba of Oba said, please, in Biafra constitution, we don't need freedom of worship, so it won't give room to Islam. Yes, let it be purely traditional, just like China maintained their Buddhism and other countries in Asia maintain their Buddhism. That is why they're very, very difficult to see all these nonsense European countries or Muslims penetrating them. Frank said in the nearest future, those Nigerianists, those one Nigerianists, we know the great job BG Prime Minister has done to save the lives of everybody. And Kingsword said it's better to be an artist than allowing freedom of worship in Biafra land. Our children should be taught ethics than religion. Even the 3 religions in Biafra constitution should not be taken serious, because religion itself is virus. It bites societies. I'm watching this, our brother talk. And according to Kingsword, say here are the cancer that is ravaging the world. Murder, Islam, Hamas, Taliban, Hezbollah, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Boko Haram. Their mother, who born them all, is Islam. That is the one that ravaging the whole world. Frank O said, freedom time, Biafra said, times we the Biafra stand for at Biafra. I beg, I don't understand. Get out of here. Mr. Joe said, this is the truth of what Nigeria has become, of course. Thank God for Martin Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa. If not, this could have been our fate. Che, my brother, these people don't have good plan. Eze Chinedu said, this is the conclusion of the whole matter. Islam is not welcome in Biafra land. They have no respect for humanity and the worst pretenders in the entire world. Exclude Israel from Biafra constitution. My PM, Yahweh protect you and your entire cabinet. Emmanuel Estewa said, this is so bad. Religion is the problem of the world. Of course, that is the problem. Simon Ekpa, Donia Isidon said, Biafrans worldwide, wake up. Martin Nnamdi Kanu predicted many years ago that the Tufumbu will become the presidiot of Zojuria, Nigeria. Today, we have Muslim president and vice president, and this will continue One day they will decree a law that all Nigerians should start hitting their head on the floor, according to you. My dear, they must surely do it. That one is what will I call it? Anyway, let us proceed. According to Simon Ekpa, A.K. Idemili Nobi said, what happened in Lebanon is exactly what is currently happening in Nigeria, and our corrupt and criminal politicians refuses to learn from history. Ken said the Yoruba land is gone, the Middle Belt is gone, the North is gone long time ago. They were coming to the Southeast to complete the job. Before Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stopped them. After the kidnap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they said to themselves, we must complete the job now. You are stopping them, and they are crying. And the truth, this man talk. Anyway, my wonderful people, we don't have to wait much of your time. Now here we go take back break. Like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos.